Alright everybody, welcome back to Farmboy's Garage and the latest episode of will he ever get this cooler working right. When we left off last time, this hose had blew off right here and I cut the end of it off, and right here's where it had blown. And what I've done is I went and got another hydraulic hose, and this is 4-foot one because I want to put a good loop in it. So what I think I'm going to do is take all this off except for this fitting right here. I'm going to leave it so this one and this part here come off, and I'm going to thread the hydraulic hose right into that, and we'll loop it somehow up to somewhere right in here, and this will attach to a piece of copper with a flare on it. Alright, so what I did, made me a flare on this end. And I just took my double flare kit and made a bubble on this end, and that way I can slide that hose up long. I'm going to put 2 clamps here, and that bubble will help hold that hose on, hopefully. Alright, so that's how it's going together. And this hose is not rated but for 190 degrees, this red hose right here. So if I have any weak points, that's where it's going to be at. Now, if I can't keep a hose on this thing, then I'm just going to go ahead and put a condenser on it where I can have a steel fitting. But hopefully this hydraulic hose will handle, 200 and something degree heat. I know it'll handle the pressure. I mean, it's rated for 3,500 pound pressure. But the heat is what kills these things. So let's try the fan. I've never even tried this thing, see if it works. There's the fan. Man, that fan is very quiet. But it's definitely moving some air. Alright. So I'm gonna go cut this thing back on, and I'm gonna set you up where you maybe can see this thing blow up again. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It did that before. It made a hell of a racket. I think it's vibrating. But I killed the breaker on it. It is vibrating. So I moved this thing, and it's actually just walked toward the wall some. So I'm hearing a leak. Why ain't this thing drained down yet? This does drain automatically, but I've got a leak on this fitting. Now I've got, normally you would bolt these compressors to the floor, and I have not to do that. But what may have to happen is I may have to put it back the way I had it. Where I had it, it was fairly stable, and this line here is cool. This one's pretty warm. It's pretty warm. That's very soft. And this line's cool. Alright, so I think we're just hearing vibration. So let me go crank it back up again. We'll finish pumped up. It's got a little less than 100 pounds in it. What the hell was that? Something sounding weird up in here. Something sounding really, really weird. It don't normally sound that way. It ain't built up enough to cut off. Still only has 100 pounds in it. I'm wondering if this thing here is letting it go in. Now here's the deal with this thing. Now I can't see which way it is. So this has got a regulator. I don't know if y'all can even see what I'm doing here. This has got a built-in regulator. And I don't want it. I don't want a regulator on this part. So even though it does have, the drain does open up when all the pressure's off of it, it will regulate it. So, you know, to not have that issue with this thing only giving it 100 pounds, it'll never cut off. Vibrated the world over here. So what I did is I picked up another filter. This one does not have a regulator. It does have an automatic drain though. So this is a Pneumatic Plus. You see that? Pneumatic Plus air filter. Notice it's just a filter, no regulator, and it's got a little sight glass here, and it does have an automatic drain on it, and you can also push up to manually drain it. So I may go ahead and put this on. Alright, so I got this filter hooked back up. I've got a pretty good little bind on this hydraulic hose now, so it's probably going to vibrate. It's probably going to vibrate and this filter loose. So I guess there's only one thing to do, and that's to try again. And the end of that hose is right just past that, so now we'll cut this back on. That's how quiet that fan is. Alright, well, we've got almost 100 pound pressure, so it should shut off at 135. So I guess we'll set you back up and we'll see what else we can tear up. So I cut it off because it's not going over 100 pounds. This hose is cool down here. This hose is cool. This hose is warm, but not bad. This hose is hot. Hot. So within about a foot of the compressor, it's pretty hot. So why is this not getting up to 100 pounds? I don't know. I mean, it's going to 100 and it's just holding. The only thing I can figure is there's too much restriction. It just don't want to go. It's actually leaked down to a little less than 100 now. There should be no pressure at all from this pipe all the way through the compressor. Pressure's hot. So why is it not wanting to build up? Alright, so I drained some air out of the tank, got it down to about 75 pounds thereabouts, and turned it on, and it didn't increase PSI at all. I run it for about 2 minutes, cut it off. So obviously I've got something either collapsed or something ain't working. I don't know if it's the valve going into the tank is not opening up, the check valve, or what it is. Alright, so I changed the filter out with the other one, and it still will not increase PSI. It's still holding about 75 PSI. Alright, so a lot of trouble later. We got my check valve out. Now, this thing operates by a little spring inside here that holds this closed when there's no pressure on the back side. And when you put pressure on the back side, you see it opens up, and it don't take much pressure to open up. Now there's also going to be pressure on this side pushing against this from opening. So if you got more pressure pushing against it, you won't be able to, you got to overcome it to be able to open it. So now it did have a little bit of moisture in it, but apparently we're just not getting the pressure out of this compressor that we need for this to operate. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put it back in. I'm going to go ahead and put some thread compound on it, reinstall it, and then we'll hook everything back up and try it again. And alright, everything's back together. The tank has been drained down, so I'm assuming it's going to pump up at some point and stop. At that point, we'll know that that's all that regulator is going to allow in here. And if that's the case, we're going to have to go to bigger hoses or bigger regulator. A lot of water coming out of there, but guess what? It's been way over 2 minutes past where it normally fills the tank up, and I'm sitting here washing it at 59 pounds, as high as it got. I don't know, maybe it's just these hoses with too much restriction. Too much. It did build up to 100 pounds when I had my 2 rubber hoses on, but blowed out the rubber hose. And these are 1/2 inch inside diameter. So let me know what you think, and I'm either going to get some bigger hoses, or I'm just going to put it back the way it was and maybe do the cooler after the tank. I don't know. So yep, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.